Good morning children. In this video we are going to look at the topic Introduction to the Information Age. In this lesson we are going to learn about the computer, history of computer, generation of computer, input unit, output unit and CPU, hardware and software. Let us see what is meant by computer. If I say this word, immediately comes in your mind, a computer is an electronic device. Isn't it? Why? Because it is made up of electronic equipments. So frequently used to say a computer is an electronic device, and also a computer does not think anything on their own. So whatever we give through the keyboard, that will be appears on the screen. A computer will work as per the instruction given by the user. So that's why we are saying a computer is an electronic device or electronic machine. So in this slide I have given you a picture. Can you guess who is he? He is called the father of the computer. His name is Charles Babbage. At earlier stage, a computer mainly used for calculating purpose. Abacus was the first calculating device. It was mainly used for calculating the numbers. Then later he has developed the computer and he has developed the basic structure of computer. He found the difference engine and he found the analog computer, and also he found the basic structure of the computer, so he is known as the father of the computer. In this slide I have given you a features of computer: speed, accuracy, reliability, versatility and storage capacity. Speed: a computer can carry out 3 billion or 4 billion instructions per second. So this specifies the speed of the computer. Next one, accuracy. A computer does not do any mistakes like human being. So this is accuracy. Next one, reliability. We can do a repeated task in the computer. A computer does not get any tired. Next one, versatility. So what is meant by versatility? A computer can do a wide range of work for us. We can able to download the documents in the computer, and also we can able to play the videos. It will do a lot of work for us. That is called versatility. Next one, storage capacity. Storage capacity is the main important features of computer, because we can store large amounts of data in the computer. Whenever we need, we can retrieve from the computer. These all the things you have learnt in your previous classes. So, and also a computer brings many changes in all the industries. So you might be seeing at various places. It is used in the banking, schools and supermarket, and also it is used in the research purpose. A computer used in the different fields for various purpose, and it performs a different task at various places. Okay, so next we will move to the next slide. Generations of computer. Every computer has the ability to perform all the tasks, but we can able to separate a generation according to the size and capacity and processing speed. So in this first generation, they have used the vacuum tubes. First generation computers were developed between 1940 to 1955. It was very big in size and it consumed more power and it requires large amounts of electricity. So sometimes it will do the malfunction due to overheat. So what is meant by malfunction? Sometimes it produces failure outputs. So that is here they have mentioned a malfunction. So next one, machine language. In first generation computer, they were used only machine language. So machine language means zeros and ones. Why the computer has built to perform the machine language, has built to understand only the machine language means it is easier for the hardware to communicate at the very basic level. So a computer only understand the machine language. Now we are giving any keys in the keyboard. First that keys will be converted into the machine language, then it will process it. So this is the way a computer will work. ENIAC was the first generation computer. ENIAC means enumerated, integrated and calculated. It was the first generation computer. So next one, in this slide I have given you a picture here. A transistor is made up of bulb and wire. This wire is used to carry the data through the electric signal. So next we are going to discuss the next generation. Second generation computers were developed between 1955 to 1965. They used transistor instead of vacuum tubes. it produces less heat compared than the first generation, and it consumes less power compared than the first generation. And instead of machine language, they were used to the assembly language. What is meant by assembly language? Assembly language is a combination of small mnemonic codes. For example, if you want to add any two numbers, you have to give a command like add add 2 plus 5, then it will be calculated. And also this assembly language has some disadvantages. If you make any mistakes in this mnemonic code, we cannot able to go to the next source code. So that is the main disadvantage of this assembly language. And if you execute this assembly language in the computer, that answer will be appears on the another system. So that is one disadvantage of this assembly language. In first generation, they were used printouts for output, and they were used paper tape for input. In the second generation, they were used paper tape for input and printouts for output. So next we will move to the third generation. Third generation computers were developed between 1964 to 1965. Integrated circuits they used. Computers were smaller, faster and more reliable. In my previous slide I have told you about the reliable. So reliable means a computer can perform a repeated task without getting any tiredness. So the computer sizes were small compared than the first and second generation, and it consumed less power. Next one, high level languages were used. So nowadays we are using a different kind of high level languages like C++, C language and C sharp. Nowadays we are using Python languages. In those days they were used COBOL and Fortran. That language was considered as a high level language. So next one, this third generation, keyboard and mouse were introduced. So next one, fourth generation computers were developed between 1975 to 1980. Microprocessors were used, and in this generation many portable computers were introduced. What is meant by portable? We can say this microprocessor gave birth to the microcomputers like laptops, personal computer, desktop, workstation. Those computers were introduced in this generation. So it was very smaller and faster than the first three generation. So in this picture you are seeing it has a lot of circuits around the silicon chip. It is silicon chip. Around the silicon chips it contains a lot of circuits. So next one, fifth generation computer or advanced computer. A computer we are using today belongs to fifth generation computer. The computer that are currently being researched and developed are the fifth generation computer. Our scientists are still developing the fifth generation computer. These fifth generation computers might have the capacity of its own thinking. Next we are going to discuss about the parts of the computer. Input unit. There are three parts of the computers are available in the parts. Input unit, central processing unit, output unit. So what is meant by input unit? This input unit uses input devices to get input from the user. So you know that what are the input devices are there? Keyboard, mouse, digital camera, light pen, barcode reader. There are lot of input devices are there, but frequently used input devices are called keyboard and mouse. So through that keyboard a computer receives input from the user. So what kind of data we will be enter into the computer? We will be enter alphabets, numbers into the keyboard for processing. Next one, central processing unit. Simply we call it as CPU. If I say this word CPU, immediately comes in your mind brain. It is compared to our brain, because without CPU a computer does not work. Can we think without brain? We couldn't able to think without brain. As well as a computer does not work without the help of CPU, because it is the main parts of the computer. It coordinates all the operations in the computer. Mainly it is a processing unit. Next one, output unit. So output unit, what is the purpose of this output unit? This output unit uses output devices to display the output on the screen. You know the output devices, frequently used output devices are called a printer and a monitor. Lot of input devices are there, projector, plotter, speaker, microphone are all belongs to output devices. So next one, input unit. see in this paragraph, the input unit helps to send the data and commands for the processing. So frequently I am using this word data. Actually, what is meant by data? Data is a raw facts, or we can say unprocessed raw facts. It is a combination of letters and numbers. So next one, the hardware devices that are used to input data are called input devices. I told you through the keyboard and mouse we are giving input to the computer. Here they have given a few input devices: keyboard, mouse, scanner, barcode reader, microphone, mic, web camera, light pen, joystick is some of the input devices are available. You know that what is the purpose of keyboard? It has a lot of keys. A standard keyboard totally has 104 keys. We have a number keys, special keys and alphabetical keys. So what is meant by special keys? Shift key, control key, alt key, tab key, caps lock key, those keys are called special keys. And also we have some function keys at the top of the keyboard for performing the specific functions. So next we are going to see about mouse. So what is the use of this mouse? By the help of mouse we can able to point out the icons on the desktop. You know that mouse has two buttons, left mouse button and right mouse button. At the bottom of the mouse we have a laser light. It is used as a sensor to pointing out the icons on the screen. Mouse is an essential part of the computer. The standard mouse has how many buttons? I told you, 2 buttons and a scroll bar in the middle. So what is the purpose of this scroll bar? We can able to move the pages up and down and left and right. The mouse is used to move the pointer on a computer screen. Right button is used to select files and to open the folder. Maximum we will use the left button for opening the folder or opening the files. Sometimes we will use the right button for using the shortcuts. The page on the monitor can be moved up and down using the scroll bar. I told you there are 4 kinds of options are there. So maximum we will use up and down scroll bar. So next in this right side they have given you a output unit. Output unit converts the command received by the computer in the form of binary signals into easily understandable character. Actually we have a graphic card embedded in the CPU. So by the help of graphic cards we can able to see a lot of icons on the screen. So in case if you are removing that graphic card in the CPU, we cannot able to see lot of icons, lot of colorful icons on the screen. Okay. And also this output unit uses output devices to display the output on the monitor. You know that well. If you press any keys in the keyboard, it will be appears on the monitor. And also we can directly drawing some pictures on the monitor, isn't it? So how it is possible? By the help of this output unit. I told you already, frequently used output devices are belongs to monitor and printer, and some of the other input devices they have given here. Speaker and scanner. You know what is the purpose of the speaker? It produces audio output. So next I will move to the next slide. So in this they have given you about the central processing unit. However, this CPU has separated as 3 units. So one is memory unit, arithmetic logic unit and control unit. So memory unit, you know, if I say this word memory, you know what is the purpose of this memory? It can store large amounts of data in the computer. So without this memory you cannot able to store the data into the computer. So next one, arithmetic and logical unit. It is the combinational circuit which is present in the CPU. So what is the purpose of this arithmetic and logical unit? It performs arithmetic and logical unit operations. Actually arithmetic means mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Logical means it comparing the values. If you want to compare any 2 values, 2 and 3, if you are entering 2 values into the keyboard and you want to know whether it is a greater value or smaller value, you want to know that. So what you will do? You will enter 2 value into the keyboard, then it will send to the CPU send to the arithmetic and logical unit. It performs all the mathematical operation. Then it will send it to the output unit. Then that output will displaying on the monitor. Okay. So what is the purpose of this arithmetic and logical unit? It performs all the mathematical operations. Next one, control unit. As the name itself you can understand the meaning. A control unit control all the devices involved in execution. It control all parts of the computer. Why? Because it gives control to the keyboard, it controls to the CPU, it controls to the output unit. How it will control, that we will discuss later. The control unit controls all the functions of all the parts of the computer. Arithmetic logic unit. Arithmetic and logic unit perform all the arithmetic computations. Computations means, I told you what is that? Calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So next one, memory unit. The memory unit in the computer saves all the data and information temporarily. So why here saying this word temporarily? Because when the power is gone, immediately whatever the data you stored in the computer, that will be erased. That's why they have mentioned here temporarily. We can classify the memory unit into two types, only primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory is also called as main memory. So why it is called the main memory means, every data, whatever the data you are entering in the keyboard, that will go to the CPU by the help of this primary memory instruction, because this primary memory gives all the instruction to the CPU. Once the CPU runs, it gets all the instructions from the primary memory, I mean to the RAM memory. And secondary memory means, you know that hard disk and pen drive, floppy disk, those belongs to secondary memory. It can store large amounts of data than primary memory. Memory can be expanded externally with the help of compact disc. You know about the CD, maximum it have the capacity of 700 MB. It can hold 80 minutes of audio, and it can hold documents, files, audio, video into the CD. So next one, pen drive. You know that it is one secondary storage device. We can able to store the documents, files into the pen drive. So whenever you need, you can insert into the CPU, then you can able to download the files whatever having in the pen drive. So next we are going to classify the memory. There are two kinds of memory, I told you. One is primary memory, another one is secondary memory. What is the another name of this primary memory? Main memory. Primary memory can directly access to the CPU. Why? Because if the CPU runs, it fetches instruction from the primary memory. And also this RAM memory is called volatile memory. So why it is called volatile memory means, when the power is gone, whatever the data you stored in the computer will be erased. So that's why it is a temporary memory or volatile memory. So next one, secondary memory. Secondary memory refers to the external storage devices like hard disk and CD. Hard disk is also called as the magnetic disk. Maximum it can hold the data 1 TB. What is meant by TB? TB means terabyte, because I told you in the beginning slide, whatever we stored in the computer, everything will be stored in the form of zeros and ones form. Why? Because the computer understands only the machine language. The machine language is called zeros and ones. So the data will be stored in the hard disk in the form of zeros and ones. So next I'll move to the next slide. So see the block diagram of CPU. So here we have an input unit, we have an output unit, and we have an CPU. However, the CPU can separated as 3 units. One is ALU, control unit, and memory, or we can say main memory. So what is the purpose of this input unit? This input unit uses input devices to receive data from the user. Data in the form of alphabets or numbers. Then it will enter into the CPU. In the CPU we have 3 important parts, I told you: ALU, next one control unit, and memory. What is the full form of this ALU? Arithmetic and logical unit. It performs the mathematical operations. This control unit controls all the parts of the computer involves in execution. This main memory is used to store the data. So I told you in the beginning, this control unit coordinates all the parts of the computer. So how it give signals to the each part? For example, if you give any 2 values into the keyboard, a control unit gives signals to the input unit that you should get 2 values from the user. Then this control unit gives signal to the ALU to perform mathematical operations on that data. Then this control unit gives signal to the output unit to display those values on the screen. So this is the way the control unit will act. So next one, memory unit, I told you. So what is the purpose of this memory unit? This is used to store the data. It will store the data as temporary and permanent. It can be internal or external. Next, I will move to the next slide. So in this they have given you a classification of computer. So a computer can classify based on their design, shape, speed and efficiency. Here I want you to compare the Nokia mobile phone and Android mobile phone. So both phone is used for sharing the information from one place to another place. So what is the difference between those Nokia mobile and Android mobile? This Android mobile has some additional feature compared than the Nokia mobile, as well as every computer has the ability to perform all the multitasking, but it will differ by their speed and efficiency. Okay. So first we are going to see the mainframe computer. So what is the purpose of this mainframe computer? This mainframe, the term mainframe comes from the word metal frame. Then later it became mainframe computer. So it has a large processing speed and it can store large amounts of data. So it is mainly used for banking purpose and scientific purpose. So next one, mini computer. As the name itself, they have mentioned mini. So it is very smaller and portable than the mainframe computer. It is a general purpose computer. Okay. So next one, micro or personal computer. So micro computer are very smaller than the mini computer. So I told you in the beginning, micro computer means it is a desktop computer, laptop computer or a tablet and a pen based computer. All those computer comes under the category of this micro computer. You know what is the purpose of the laptop computer? We can store large amounts of data and we can carry with us wherever we go. So that is the main use of laptop. And laptop computer is also called as a notebook computer because it looks similar to the notebook. So next one, supercomputer. As the name itself, they given super. So it is very super faster than these computers. So next one, it can store large amounts of data and I want you to tell one thing. Every computer has only one processor, but the supercomputer have multiprocessor. So multiprocessor means it is very faster than it is billion times faster than this other computer. So it is called a supercomputer, and also it is very high expensive. So it is mainly used for the research purpose. So next one, personal computer and its types. Personal computer comes under the microcomputer category. Based on the memory and efficiency, they can be classified as desktop. So what is another name of this desktop computer? Workstation. It is mainly used for performing the graphical activity, graphical applications. So laptop computer is also called as the notebook computer. It is very portable. We can carry with us wherever we go. Tablet computers is similar to the laptop, but it has some additional feature like it has a facility of voice recognition and writing recognition. So next one, hardware is the part of a computer which we can touch and feel. So many times I said to you in the classes, hardware means all the physical components of the computer are called hardware. So what are the physical parts having in the computer? Keyboard, monitor, CPU and printer. So some of the parts which is available outside the computer, and some of the hardware devices which is available inside the CPU that we couldn't see, because and that parts they have given you here, cabinet. So what is the purpose of this cabinet? This contains a computer racks. So what is the purpose of this computer racks? It allocates the memory and it allocates the computer mounting. So next one, hard disk. Hard disk is also called as the magnetic disk. It is used to store the data. Maximum it can hold 1 TB of data. TB in the sense we would say GB, 1 GB pen drive and 2 GB pen drive. Like that, hard disk means 1 TB. 1024 GB is equal to 1 TB. So it can hold a maximum 1 TB of data. So next one, motherboard. So motherboard is the main circuit board of the computer. It is very important component in the CPU. So without this motherboard, a CPU does not work, because this motherboard is the living place of all the hardware components. Nowadays we are using a printer machine, scanner machine, but in case if you are taking this motherboard in the CPU, we cannot able to take printout or we cannot able to use scanner machine, because it is the living place of all the hardware components. So next one, SMPS. SMPS means it is called switched mode power supply. It is an electronic power supply. It supplies powers to all the units of the computer. So what is the main job of this SMPS? It supplies the power I told you, and also it converts the AC current to DC. You might be learnt in your physics lesson. What is the purpose of this AC? AC delivers the power to homes. DC means it is mainly used for lower appliances like charging the batteries. So first it converts the AC to DC, then it will supply the power, and it will produce the reliable output even when there is a lot of invariations in the output. So that's why it is embedded in the CPU that we couldn't see. So next one, RAM. RAM is a random access memory. It is a volatile memory. I told you in the beginning it is also called as the primary memory. So next one, CD drive, which is having in the CPU. So what is the purpose of this CD drive? We can able to insert CD or DVD into this CD drive. So next one, graphics card. So what is the purpose of this graphics card? We can able to see a lot of pictures on the desktop. You may get doubt in this. We can able to see a lot of pictures by the help of output unit. So what is the necessity of using this graphics card? So this graphics card is embedded in the CPU. By the help of this graphics card, we are able to see a lot of pictures, icons on the monitor. Otherwise, we cannot able to see the pictures on the monitor. I hope you understood this. So I will move to the next slide. So next one, software. Software is a set of instructions given to the computer. Because computer is a machine, it will work by the help of human instructions. Why? Because a computer understands only the machine language. A computer does not understand the English language, or we could speak some other language, Tamil or whatever may be, that all the languages a computer doesn't understand. Why? Because a computer has built to understand only the machine language. So why the computer has built to understand only the machine language? Because it is very easier to the hardware to communicate at the very basic level. So if you press A in the keyboard, first that will be converted as binary language, then it will be sent it to the CPU. And also without the software, a computer does not work. For example, if you press any keys in the keyboard, you are thinking that will be appears on the screen by the help of keyboard and monitor. Actually, that is not true. A lot of softwares available inside the CPU. By the help of software, a keyboard getting value from the user. In case if you removing those softwares in the CPU, we cannot able to communicate with the computer. Even if you press any keys in the keyboard, that won't appear on the screen. Why? Because a computer will work by the help of software instructions. Okay. So now I will read out this paragraph. You listen carefully. Hardware is lifeless without software in a computer. Because hardware is nothing. Only monitor, keyboard, all the physical components comes under the category of hardware. How does the hardware work? By the help of software instruction. So a computer will work by the help of two important components. One is hardware, another one is software. In case if you have a hardware but you don't have a software, you cannot able to work. And also you have only the software, you don't have the keyboard and mouse. How will you communicate with the computer? You cannot do. So which is very important. These both are very important, like body and soul. Okay. Softwares are programmed and coded application to process the input information. The software processes the data by converting the input information into coding or programmed language. So here they have mentioned the coding. Coding means nothing, programming language. So you have learnt about the HTML languages, you know, that is one coding. So why we are using the coding? Nowadays we are using the WhatsApp and Facebook. So how we are using those applications? Because those applications were written by the help of this programming language. In case if the programming languages are not available, we couldn't use those Facebook and WhatsApp. Okay. So next we are going to see the types of software. The software is divided into two types based on the process only: system software and application software. As the name itself, you can understand the meaning system software. So it is very, very important to the computer because it is simply called as OS. So why? Because it controls overall operations of the computer. So without this system software we cannot able to do anything into the computer, because you might be heard about OS. In our school we have installed Windows 7 and Windows 8 operating system. Windows 10 is the famous operating system we are using at present. So just imagine, without installing that Windows, can you work with the computer? No, we couldn't work. Next one, application software. Application software means, it will do the particular task. It will do the specific task for the user. For example, paint. What is the purpose of that paint? We can able to draw the pictures, or we can able to edit the pictures into the paint. What is the purpose of MS Word? We can able to type the document, or we can able to take print by the help of that MS Word, isn't it? So it will do the particular task. In case if you delete the paint in your computer, we cannot use paint, but we will use MS Word. So that's why I am saying it will do the particular task, specific task. Okay, and also games is also an application software. Even if you erase the games in your computer, you can able to work with the computer. Why? Because without application software, a system software will work. But without system software, the application software won't work, because this application software controlled by the system software. Okay. And also I want you to remember, when you switch on the computer, the first software will loading into the computer, that is called a system software. We would say that is booting. Here they have given the deep explanation about system software. I will read out one by one. System software is software that makes the hardware devices to process the inputted data and to display the result on the output devices like monitor. For example, you want to take print. First of all, the printer machine should get permission from the system software for taking print. You may get doubt in this, how the system software give permission to the printer. This all the things will happen within a fraction of second. We couldn't guess. So next one, without the operating system, computer cannot function on its own. I told you repeatedly. Some of the popular operating systems are Linux, Windows, Mac and Android. Android is also one kind of operating system. That's why we are using very conveniently. So next one, Windows is an operating system. Linux is also one kind of operating system. Instead of having an icons, Linux have a lot of commands. So next one, application software. Application software is a program or a group of programs designed for the benefit of the end user. Who is the end user? Like you and me. We are the user. Those who are using a computer, they are called a user, or we can say end user. The application programs can be installed in the hard disk for the usage on a particular computer. I told you, whatever we stored in the computer, everything will be stored in the hard disk drive. So what are the things will be stored in the hard disk drive? Files, audios, videos and application softwares. This type of application program completes one or more than two works of the end user. The following are the examples of application program. Video player. So what is the purpose of this video player? We can able to see movies, or we can play music by the help of this video player. There are many video players are there. VLC, Windows Media Player. So next one, audio player. We can able to hear the music. So next one, word processing software is an editing software. So next one, drawing tools. Drawing tools, as the name itself you can understand, drawing tools is used for drawing the pictures. Editing software is used to editing the softwares. So next one, I will move to the next slide. So in this they have given you a clear explanation about software and application software. So what is the purpose of this software? This software acts as an interface between the user, hardware and all the application software. Because I told you in the beginning itself, a computer understands only the machine language, but nowadays we are entering the English letters in the keyboard. Then how the computer understands those English languages? Because the software has translators. So translators can called compiler or interpreter. So what is the main job of this compiler? It translates the machine level language to high level language, or high level language to machine level language. Then only the computer understand whatever we enter into the keyboard, which is present inside the CPU. So next one, system software controls the internal computer operation. Application software carries out the necessary operation for a specified application to function. It will do the particular task for the user. System software can classify two types. One is system management program, another one is developing software. So operating system is, I told you, it controls overall operations of the computer. Device drivers. What is the purpose of this device drivers means? By the help of this device drivers, we can able to take a printouts by the help of printer machine. You may think we can take print by the help of printer machine, but actually if you remove this device drivers into the computer, you cannot able to take printer even if you have the printer machine. Okay, so next one, system utilities. What is meant by this system utilities? This is across between the application software and system software, like antivirus. So what is the purpose of this antivirus? This protect our computer from malware functions. So next one, developing software. Programming language. You know what are the programming languages are available at present? C, C++, C#, and Java, and nowadays we are using Python languages. Those languages were designed to communicate with the computer very easily. So next one, language translator. Just now I told you it is used to translating the high level language to machine level language to make the computer understand. So next, the linkers. Linkers is also called as the object files. So next one, loader. Sometimes if you are using a computer, if you opening the many applications, it shows the application has been loading. So why? Because the loader is having into the computer. So next one, general purpose software. So what are the general purpose softwares are available? Word processor, presentation. By the help of this presentation, we can able to make a PPT. So spreadsheet means, what is the purpose of this spreadsheet? We can able to do calculation by the help of the spreadsheet like an Excel. So next one, image editor. We can able to do the image edit. So next one, specific purpose software means reservation system. So why they have mentioned here specific? For example, we couldn't do reservation in our school computer. Why? Because if you want to reserve the tickets, what you will do? You have to open the particular website to reserve the reserve any hotel or whatever may be. You have to install the particular software into your computer. Then you have to go to that website for reserving the tickets or whatever you want. So next one, attendance system. So this is also, if you want to use this attendance system, attendance application in your computer, you have to install. So next one, billing system also, that applications you have to install in your computer, then only we can able to use those software. So next one, I'll move to the next slide. Once again, we will go through from the CPU. So once again we will go through this. At earlier stage they were used abacus machine for the calculating purpose. Then later he has developed many computers and he has developed the basic structure of computer. That's why we call him as the father of computer. Okay, a computer has a lot of advantages. Only few features I have given you here. Once again we will remember: speed, accuracy, reliability, versatility and storage capacity. So next one, what are the generations we have discussed? There are 5 generations we have discussed. In first generation they used vacuum tubes. Second generation they used transistor. Third generation they used integrated circuit. Fourth generation they used microprocessor. Computer that we use today belongs to 5th generation computer. That is, we call it as artificial intelligence. So next we have discussed about the parts of computers. So what are the parts of computers we have discussed? Input unit, CPU and output unit. So next CPU, however, is separated as memory unit, arithmetic logic unit and control unit. So you know that what is the purpose of this memory unit? It is used to store large amounts of data into the computer. There are 2 kinds of memories are there. One is primary memory, another one is secondary memory. So arithmetic logic unit mainly used for performing a mathematical operations. Control unit coordinates all the operations in the computer. Okay, so next we'll move to the classification of computer. Every computer is classified based on the design, shape and speed. So we have discussed about mainframe computer, mini computer, micro or personal computer and supercomputer. So next one, portable computers comes under the category of personal computer, desktop, laptop and tablet. So next, hardware. What is the definition? I told you all the physical components of the computer are belongs to hardware. Those parts we can able to touch and feel, but softwares we cannot able to touch and feel. How many types of softwares we have discussed? One is system software, another one is application software. So which is very important to the computer? I told you system software is very important to the computer because it manages the application software. Okay, what is the purpose of this application software? It performs a specific task to the user. I hope you all understood this slides. Next we will move to the choose the best answer. Who is the father of the computer? Charles Babbage is the father of the computer. Why? Because he has designed the basic structure of the computer. So we call him as Charles Babbage. So next one, which one of the following is an output device? Mouse and keyboard belongs to input device. Pen drive belongs to storage device. So which is the answer? Speaker. Okay. So next, which one of the following is an input device? So you have to find out from this all. Speaker is an output device, you know that. Monitor is an output device, printer is an output device. So which one is correct? Keyboard is an input device. So next, pen drive is dash device. So what is the purpose of pen drive? You know that we can able to store a data into the pen drive. Okay, so it is storage device. So next, we have discussed the fifth generation in the previous slide. Fifth generation computer has dash intelligence, artificial intelligence. Okay. So next one, keyboard. Keyboard is input device. So next, fourth generation computers were used integrated circuits. So next one, hardware belongs to RAM. What is the meaning of this RAM? You know. What is the meaning of this RAM? Random access memory. Because if the CPU runs, all the instructions fetch from the where? From RAM memory. So hardware belongs to RAM. So next one, third generation computer. Third generation computers are integrated circuit because that generation they were used to integrated circuit. So next one, application software, drawing tools. Because you know that application software will do the specific task to the user like games, Paint, Adobe Photoshop. So drawing tools comes under the category of application software. I hope you all understood the slides well. So you make a note on it in your book. Then this all you submit it when the school resumes. Okay, thank you.